A baby deer is born, and within an hour it is standing. Wobbling, yes, but up on its own legs. Within a day, it can run fast enough to escape a lion. A baby wildebeest can keep pace with the migrating herd on the same afternoon it is born. A newborn horse gallops. Now look at a human baby. It cannot walk. It cannot crawl. It cannot roll over, hold up its own head, or even find food without help. Drop it and it cannot cling to you. For a full year, it is one of the most helpless creatures on the entire planet. So here is the question almost no one stops to ask. Why? Why, out of all the animals alive, are you born so completely, dangerously useless? Because you are the strange one here, not the deer. Across the animal kingdom, being born ready is the normal setting. Zebras, giraffes, sheep, dolphins, guinea pigs, they all arrive built. Eyes open, legs working, senses online, ready to move within minutes or hours. And before you say that is just prey animals running from predators, look at your closest relatives. A newborn chimpanzee is far more capable than a newborn human. From almost day one, it can grip its mother's fur and hold on with its own strength while she climbs and swings through the trees. Your baby cannot grip anything that matters. It has the leftover reflex to curl its fingers, but no power behind it and no way to hold on. Every ape baby clings. The human baby has to be carried every second or it is finished. Scientists have a blunt name for what your baby is. Secondarily, altricial. Altricial means born helpless, like a naked baby bird. Secondarily means we did not start that way, we became this. Our lineage should produce capable, precocial babies like other big primates. Instead, we produce something that looks, frankly, unfinished. One researcher, Adolf Portmann, ran the numbers and argued that to be born as developed as a newborn ape, a human pregnancy would need to last not 9 months, but something closer to 18 or 21. In other words, by the standard of every other primate, every single human is born roughly a year premature. We are all early. That first year outside the womb is really just the pregnancy we could not finish on the inside. So the obvious question is, why can't we finish it? Why evict the baby a year too soon? And for decades, the textbook had a clean, satisfying answer. It goes like this. 2 things make humans special. We stand and walk on 2 legs, and we grow enormous brains. But those 2 things are at war inside a pregnant woman's body. Walking upright needs a narrow pelvis, a tight, compact hip structure to keep you balanced and efficient on 2 feet. A big brain needs a big head, and a big head needs a wide opening to be born through. Narrow hips, giant skull. Something has to give. So the story went, evolution struck a desperate compromise. Kick the baby out early, while its head is still small enough to fit, and let the brain do the rest of its growing on the outside. They even gave it a dramatic name, the obstetrical dilemma. It is a beautiful theory. Clean. Logical. And it may be wrong, because when researchers actually went and tested it, the numbers started to wobble. First problem. Studies looked at whether a wider pelvis, wide enough to birth a more developed baby, would really wreck a woman's ability to walk or run. And the answer that kept coming back was, not really. A wider hip does not slow you down the way the old story insisted. If evolution wanted to widen the birth canal, it apparently could have, without turning us into slow, clumsy walkers. So if hips were not the true bottleneck, the whole tidy dilemma cracks, which sends us looking for the real reason we are born unfinished, and it turns out to have almost nothing to do with the shape of your bones. The real limit is fuel. An anthropologist named Holly Dunsworth put forward a different idea, and the evidence lines up hard behind it. Think of a pregnancy as an engine, and the mother's body as the fuel tank. Growing a baby, especially a big-brained human baby, burns an astonishing amount of energy. As the pregnancy goes on, that cost climbs and climbs. And there is a ceiling to how much energy a human body can burn and sustain, roughly twice the normal resting rate, for weeks on end. Around 9 months, The growing baby's energy demand slams straight into that ceiling. The mother's body physically cannot supply anymore. Labor begins not because the head is finally too big for the hips, but because the mother has hit the red line. The baby is not squeezed out. It runs out of fuel on the inside and has to come out to keep growing. We are born early because pregnancy is the most expensive thing a human body ever does, and the tank runs dry. Now sit with how insane this is from a survival standpoint. Evolution is ruthless about helplessness. A newborn that cannot walk, cannot flee, cannot cling, cannot feed itself, and screams loudly enough to alert every predator for a kilometer, that is not an asset. That is a walking liability. And it does not stop at birth. This creature stays useless for years. A mother in the Ice Age, carrying a baby that cannot support its own weight for a moment, could not run, could not climb well, could not fight, and still had to somehow feed both of them. By every cold rule of nature, a baby this defenseless should have been a fast track to extinction. So how on earth did the most helpless newborn in the animal kingdom become the newborn of the most successful animal in the world? Here is the twist, and it is the whole secret of our species. A human baby is not designed to be raised by a mother. It is designed to be raised by a group. We are what biologists call cooperative breeders, and among apes, that makes us bizarre. A chimpanzee mother will barely let another chimp touch her newborn for months, but a human mother, almost from the first hours, hands her baby around. To the grandmother, to the aunt, to the father, the older sister, the trusted friend. We are the ape that shares its children. And that changes everything. A baby so helpless that one person cannot possibly raise it forces the people around it to step in. The uselessness is not a bug that we barely survived. It is a leash that ties every newborn to a whole cooperating village. A baby that needs a tribe builds a tribe. And it goes deeper than just surviving. That long, useless childhood is the most important download window in nature. A baby ape is born with a brain nearly halfway to adult size. A human baby is born with a brain only about a quarter of the way there. The rest wires itself on the outside, soaking in the real world instead of the dark of the womb, which means the most explosive brain growth of your entire life happened while you were watching faces, hearing voices, and being carried through a living human community. You did not just learn to walk during those helpless years. You learned language, faces, rules, tricks, stories, the entire operating system of being human, downloaded straight from the group that raised you. The deer is born finished, and it stays a deer. You were born unfinished on purpose, so the tribe could write itself into you. Helplessness bought us the biggest brains and the deepest culture on the planet. And let me be straight with you, the way most videos won't. Scientists are still arguing over the exact wiring of this. The old obstetrical dilemma is not completely dead, and researchers still debate how much is pelvis, how much is metabolism, how much is the demands of that giant brain. The energy story is winning ground, but the case is not fully closed. Yet notice what every version of this story agrees on. Not one of them says the human baby is weak by accident. Whether the trigger is fuel or bone or brain, the outcome is the same. We trade a strong, ready newborn for a fragile one, and in exchange we get an enormous brain and a childhood long enough to load an entire culture into it. The weakness is the price of the download. So think about what that actually makes you. You were not born broken. You were born open, so unfinished that you had no choice but to be shaped by the people around you, and so needy that you pulled a whole community together just by existing. The most helpless start in the animal kingdom is the exact reason we ended up with language, culture, and cooperation running this planet. The deer got to stand up in an hour. You got everything else. So here is my question for the comments, and be honest. Knowing all this, would you trade it? Would you give up that long, dependent, tribe-built childhood to be born ready like a deer, standing on your own within the hour, but alone? Tell me what you really think. And if you want to know what happened to those ancestors when their fuel truly ran out, when a body pushed past every limit just to survive, that is exactly where we are going next. Subscribe to Bygone. We do this every week, the strange story of how humans survived every age.